The driver. The club that everyone wants to start with when they take up the game of golf. I haven't hit my left-handed driver since the first episode. We've obviously practiced irons, wedges, everything else. Been out on the golf course, haven't hit this yet. Guys, how you doing? Welcome back to a brand new video. It's Simon down here at Burford Golf Lab. Ping G25. Good driver if you're starting the game, 60, 70 quid, something like that. Great first driver for you obviously to get, forgiving, high launching. Ball speed's going to be around about where the normal drivers, this year's drivers are. I want to get some numbers, that's why we're in here. Give ourselves a baseline of my first swings with the driver properly after I've done some practice with my irons and everything else. I want to see where the starting point is and where we're going to be in 3 to 4 to a year and so on and so forth. And yeah, see how I'm performing. I want a consistent 200-yard shot down the fairway with this 80% of the time, as well as having only one bad shot, not two. I'll talk about that a bit more in a minute. And not necessarily going at it full blast. So obviously I've been lacking in the left-handed series, the long drive stuff. I had a bit of a back injury, nothing major, just a bit muscular. But as well as, obviously as a golf coach this time of year is rather busy, no excuse. But it's probably similar to your guys' day-to-day lives. You can't practice so many hours a week. So this is a very realistic series and I'm going to try and get as much filming as I can done. But if I'm filming, it means I'm not practicing, so it's kind of weighing up the both. So yes, gonna hit the driver and 200 yards and only having one bad shot. So I'll show you a few of my swings at the moment and I'll show you how poorly they were at the start. As a beginner, everyone has very little control on where the club face is at impact. And what I mean by that is club face alignment. The ball is determined 80% of its initial direction where the club face is basically pointing. So if it's pointing out left, the ball's going to go left to start with. If it's going out to the right, the ball's going to go to the right. So I quickly found that, again, my control with the driver and keeping that club face aligned to the target impact is near on impossible until I started bowing my right wrist. If I get any of these mixed up, because see I'm doing this left-handed, I'm sorry, but I'm going to try and do the best I can. You watch me hit a few shots and I'm having to overturn my hands a lot, and this is one of the biggest mistakes. And if you're going to take anything away from this, it's this: don't try and roll that club face before impact, because it means the club face is too open before the ball and too close after it. You've got a very small margin of keeping that club face aligned to the target, and this is why chipping is a very good part of the game to start with before the driver. That club face when you're chipping is pretty much at the target throughout the entirety of the swing. So it's exactly the same with the driver. How do you get that club face even a foot before the golf ball is somewhat aligned to the target, and then even after the target, even after the ball's been hit, is somewhat aligned to the target? It means if you catch it early or late, your shot is only going to be so much percent left or right of the target. What you don't want, and the biggest thing I do see with a lot of my lessons, is the club face being like 25 degrees open and then 25 degrees close at impact. So you'll see me go through this routine of trying to keep the club face basically at the target throughout my backswing. I'm basically closing that club face, bowing my right wrist and bending it down like that, for example, because the ball keeps going to the left. If all my shots are going to the right, I'm going to do this. The reason I like this, and again this is personal, that's fixed. So that there, I can't bend anymore. That alternatively as well, I can't bend anymore. I've never been able to do that. It's going right or left depending on basically how much movement I've got there. So we're working on bowing the right wrist on the way back. Again, that's only because the ball keeps going out to the left. I need to close that club face at impact, and I don't want to overturn my hands like this, because that just leaves you a array of bad shots. You can't commit to a shot unless you know where your bad shot is. Let me explain. If you hit the ball left and right off the tee, how can you commit to hitting that golf ball? Because if you commit to hitting it right, it's going right, and if you commit to hitting it left, it's going left. At the moment, from the shots I'm showing you, I can't hit it right because that club face just loves to fan open on the way back. It's something that obviously I have to work on, and it's very common with a lot of people. So if you keep it hanging out to the right hand side, for example, if you're playing like right-handed, or if you keep it out left if you're playing left-handed, it's probably because that club face is opening way too much and you're trying to work too hard with your hands on the way down. So as I said, trying to get the club face before and after the golf ball, the line to the target is key. When I hit the ball well, which hopefully you've seen a few of them now, it went straight with little curvature. So I don't have to worry about my swing path. Forget swing path, forget where your club face, or your club shaft I should say, is at in your swing, or if it's over here or whatever it is. If the ball is going straight, leave it alone. If you've got a massive slice, i.e. it starts massively to the right and comes back in, or if you've got a massive hook, so goes massively out to the left, I'm doing this left-handed by the way, and then comes back in, then obviously swing path would have to change. But at the moment for me, doesn't. So I've only got to worry about club face, and that is why we're only working on things in this that directly relate to club face. And that is coaching 101. You're now a professional golf coach. So obviously there's multitude of ways. I didn't want to change my grip. I could strengthen my grip because again, that's going to help club face. I could put the ball further forward in my stance. Again, that's going to help the club face release on the way through. There's a few things that you can do to obviously affect club face at impact. The easiest one I found for me that's worked long term, not necessarily short term, and is quite an advanced move, is keeping these wrists, or I should say this wrist, bowed. And again, if I'd hit them all to the right, i.e. hook them, I'd do that. I'd want to hook it. I would cup it even. Again, as soon as I started hitting them well, I did the typical mistake everyone does. Hit it harder. Trying to hit it harder. Don't do that. My 200-yard goal is perfect because if I hit it 200 yards off tee, it means I probably can hit every hole onto the green within par. So strokes allowed, I'd be around the green, for example, with my shots in. So if I start hitting it past 200 yards at the moment, I slow it down a bit. Again, consistency. This is my stock shot. This is a shot, is a go-to just to get me down there. And then obviously, as I get better and stronger and more comfortable, and the hole's a bit wider, then I start opening up, then I start hitting it a bit harder, and more importantly, hitting out the middle. Doesn't matter how expensive your driver is, if you hit out the toe, you are losing 20 miles an hour ball speed. Hit out the middle, you're gonna get that basic distance gained purely by slowing down your swing and being more consistent. Overall, the swing looks really good though. I mean, I'm quite happy. You can see the work that I've done with the chipping and the wedge play, trying to keep width in the swing, trying to make sure that I'm not making too many movements with like bending my left elbow, or no, my right elbow, too much wrist action, so on and so forth, as well as sliding or swaying into the swing. So I was quite happy. Follow through is somewhat suspect. Again, very common, especially when you start this game, to try and hit the ball and off the back foot, so you're almost leaning back into it, trying to get that weight through and turning. Just like any sport, if you're going to throw something, you go with the golf ball. If you hit a tennis like serve, for example, you go with the golf ball, same as golf. So that's got to be worked on. But overall, looking at the swing at the moment, it's not looking too bad. So if you're struggling at the moment off the tee, I highly recommend you give yourself a 200-yard stock shot. Now, for the guys that have been playing a lot longer, obviously I can only hit this 200 yards at the moment with that slower swing. Some of you guys be able to hit a 4-iron 200 yards. Rescue, whatever it is, find that club, that one club that can guarantee you 90% of the time to be down the middle. So that when the rest of the game's not working, you can reset, get some shots down the middle, start playing some golf, then work your way back up the bag again. But 200 yards I should say is the key, and being confident from that range and consistent from that range is going to help improve your golf. So as I said guys, I want to get out on the golf course, I want to go and play some more. Obviously I want to go and test this and obviously see what kind of scores we are shooting consistently. I am going to up the practice now, I'm going to find time as well as fitting everything else in, so apologies for the delayed uploads in terms of the left-handed swing. Guys, if you like this video, leave it a like. As always, please subscribe. Catch you guys later.